Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Leah Nishmas Mimi Rossi Rusvas Mordechai. Shh, guys. What simcha in the room. Unbelievable. Hayoim, Shisho Shleishim Yoim, Shem Chamishosh Shavuos, V'yoim Echad Ba'omer, or La'omer. Yeah, I got it. Today's shir is sponsored by Jonathan Stefansky. With Shevach V'Hidah L'Akadosh Baruch Hu, sponsoring today's shir in honor of the engagement of our son Boaz Yehuda. Why aren't you listening? You need to be listening to every word. His son is engaged. His son is engaged. Boaz Yehuda to Sarah Lubetsky of Ofakim, daughter of a Magichir. And b'schos the shiduchim of our daughters Esther Bela Bad Bracha and Shira Ahuva Bad Bracha. The Korev Mamish. Also sponsored by Avrumi Feld. Rabbi Zay. Yaakov. Imi Mirosi Yehuda's Bas Reb Aaron Dova Koyen. Today's shir is sponsored by Eli Neuberger. The Refuah Shilayma for Tinok ben Penina Esther. Dedication for the holy Neshamos of the Meron Tragedy and Refuah Shilayma for the injured. Teirasei Mogen Lanu Himirasei Nenu Hu Yam Litztoiv Aleinu Adinenu Bar Yechoy. Right at this very moment, I heard that Yosef Israel ben Chaya Michal, the kid that lives right up the block over here on the Lave, who's in a critical condition, is going into surgery. So the Olam should have him in mind. Yosef Israel ben Chaya Michal. I don't know if I mentioned that Chaim Rak, who's Nifter, 19-year-old, also lives literally one block away from the Beis Medrash here. Mendy Auerbach, who's sitting right next to me here, is very, very friendly with the family. His wife's store is in the same building as Chaim Kornbluth's nephew. I mentioned it also. You weren't here. Sorry. You need to be here every day. Nothing, every day. So it's very at the shiva, the father said, why is it that we have to wait until somebody's nifter to appreciate the person and say shvach about the person? How come I didn't pick up the phone once in a while and call up my son and say, I appreciate you for who you are? It's unbelievable, Mr. Haskell. The other thing I saw yesterday was the father. What was his name from Bnei Brak? Anybody remember the name? Chiyut, thank you. He was in a wheelchair and he gave a hesped. And he said, Rabbi Sai, we're so few people. The Jews are such a small percentage of this world. Yet we have so much infighting. Let's stop the fighting. Let's have aschinam. Let's bring on no chilonim, no datilumi, no this kippah, that kippah. Those were his words yesterday. All right. Email, Josh Strook. Good morning, Rivelli. My name is Josh Strook. I try to watch the Daf live. Listen to this. 11:15 p.m. Texas time, as I live in Dallas. Because of your share, I'm now my first Gemara since elementary school. No, when is elementary school? Doesn't say exactly. Well, I finally comprehend what goes on at the Beis HaMikdash, because each one has one strike. Second strike, because of your visual aids. Anyways, I would recommend a stick like the Rebbe's used in Borough Park in the 70s when I went to Teres Emes. So, in the 70s, he was in Teres Emes, and this is the first time he owns a Gemara since the 70s. So you do the math. You mean after? Wow, Tehillim is mamish. What is this? Gifts. This one is from, I don't know if he wants me to say his name. It says, Lightman from Lakewood, New Jersey. First of all, I must thank the Chevra that have made the big recent publicity push for your share. To be honest, I was one of those that was very disinclined to learn Daf Yomi. I told myself various reasons, among them that I like to learn more in depth with Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos. Well, Your shir on the first day of Yoma, when you knocked down the excuses not to learn the daf, convinced me to give it a try, and I'm hooked. Here we are, 20 daf in, and I haven't missed a day. So, Reb Yid, another 10 days. Basically, you're gonna lock it in, and then 30 days after that, 60 days, you're goner for life. You'll never miss it. It'll become such a habit. It's unbelievable. I've not given up my regular limud. I've just added Daf Yomi and squeezed it into my schedule, as I've learned in some other emails. You hear Yaakov? He learned from other emails that learning the daf. Those I point to you because you're anti-emails at the beginning of the daf. So this I'm saying again. He learned from these emails. Learning the daf actually makes you more time efficient, and you can find more time. He's probably quoting that Lubavitcher and the other people. The other reason I'm writing is about the Article Gemara offer. I would really like to benefit from it. However, I really own a Yoma Volume 1. So I was wondering if you guys, I know it's not you specifically, would be kind enough to send me Volume 2 in Hebrew, please. No, it's very nice. I'm happy he asked, and I'm sure Yossi Klein will be happy to send him a Gemara, Volume 2. Why not? Spreading Torah. He should, no problem. Send him a Gemara. Yossi, you're listening? Send him a Gemara. I sent him to someone that was linked to the offer online, but haven't received a response. Chutzpah. Okay. I'm going to speak to Yossi Klein myself. Good. Listen, he's like, what he needs a Gemara. I have to read this. I know we're late. David Address. OMG. I loved your Chafina demo. The reason why I'm reading is because David Address had a granddaughter. So mazel tov to him. Doesn't say it in the email, but he did. It reminded me I have to read this. So awesome. Keep up the amazing work, and thank you for all the time you spent prepping for the daf. I can't even imagine countless hours you put in. It shows it's geschmack to do the daf with rebellion, he says. Good job, it is. All right, and here one more. These are two youngsters that watch the daf every single day on Zoom. The CEO, Yoel Bergman from Chicago, he probably holds the records of drinking the most Slurpees. Dr. Shalom Aleichem. Wow, what a surprise. Geschmack to see you. You said you're coming back. I wasn't sure. Now what? You haven't missed a day since Brachas Daf Beis. Unbelievable. Wow. Thanks for coming. Wow. And Gedalia Saznik from San Francisco Bay. Every day there's a minhag. If you go on Zoom after Shir, he says, Rebelli, when are you coming to San Francisco? Every single day. All right. Today is Daf Chav Beis. Yeah, the Ron Kornbluth, who sits here every single day and took care of Mando, the grand dog, and because of him I was able to go to America. Unfortunately, his father was nifter today, just a few hours ago. So we'll give the Olam the information in terms of Shiva and things like that. He's in America right now. In Montreal, sorry. Anywhere out of here, yeah. We're starting a brand new parak, brand new Masechta. Today's official Mishnah is sponsored anonymously for Shiduch Devora Bas Leah gittel. We're talking about Trumas Hadeshin, as we spoke about yesterday. Every day, early in the morning, before morning, they take a shovel of the ashes off the Mizbeach and they put it in this 10 amas off the ramp, right around over here in a box, and it gets dissolved into the ground according to Rashi. Don't use up your first question already. And when there's many kohanim, what do? Hold on, gotta get my thing. It's in here somewhere. This is the famous Mishnah that they had a race. If there were many kohanim, they would see who wins the race, and whoever wins the race gets to do the Trumas Hadeshin. Take this one for now. This is the Gershon Ben Moshe one that's not finished yet. They run up the ramp. Now, when they reach 4 amas before the end, as we're going to see in the Gemara exactly where the end is, there's a little gap here, by the way, between the kevesh, the ramp, and the mizbeach. 4 amas within that, about 8 feet approximately. Before that, the race is over. What Which other side? They ran this way. On this side? What about all the people? There's a lot of people. There's a big race. There's a lot of people. It wouldn't be fair if they all stood in a row and ran up the Mizbeach. I mean, so I don't understand exactly what's so. If this guy is super athletic, Usain Bolt always wins, gets to do Trumas Hadeshin, whatever. Maybe. Okay, so, but all the strong. I'm just thinking that in those days, the Talmid Chacham were always the strongest ones. They were part of the Gibarim in the Mulchama. And if they're equal, there was a tie. The one in charge of the lottery, he tells them, oh, I didn't print it at the end. Okay. I did some changes over here. But here, they stand in a circle, and I just made an X here, but I did a real one. They basically, one guy takes off his hat, as we're going to see, and they all stick out one finger, as in the picture. Yoni, I had once a picture from Yoni where he did it with the hat off, and he's holding the hat. And then he picks a number. Let's say he says 100, and he starts counting from the guy in the hat, and he goes around. And obviously, there's less than 100 people there. If there's 100, then you have to pick another number, 300. You just keep on going until the last finger, and the last finger wins. So the Mishnah says, either one finger or two fingers. But you can't use a thumb, as Gemara is going to explain, because then you could cheat. The Kohen might count your thumb as the second to last, and then your finger, and you'll go like this, and then he gets your finger, and you. When it comes to Dvarim Shemikdusha, people also used to cheat. It's not even a monetary gain; it's a mitzvah gain, but you're allowed to cheat for mitzvahs. Chas v'shalom, you're not allowed to, but that's what people do. I don't know if there's a person in the world that doesn't know this Mishnah, famous Mishnah. There was a tie going up the ramp. And one of them pushed the other guy, gave him a little elbow, and shoved him right off the ramp. Again, he's doing it for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all the Shem Shemayim. And broke the guy's leg. Huh? An offensive foul. What was the question? Of course, and he did it with kavana. He did it that. Yeah, exactly. V'nishber ragloi v'kirin shiro bezin shabam de sakana. Bezin saw this is getting out of hand. The skidush lo yitormim with some zbech elo b'pais. You need a lottery. Arba payosas hayusham. There was 4 lotteries, as we explained. They could have done all 4 in one shot, but they wanted to make a matzav out of it. They wanted to bring everybody together and do it again and again, make it an exciting event. This was for the Trumas Hadeshin, was the first avoid in the day. So this is the first lottery. Says the Gemara, the other 3, there's always lotteries. Why all of a sudden here, when it comes to Trumas Hadeshin, no lottery and it's a race? Where else do you have a race in the Torah anywhere? Nobody's going to come. Who's going to come for Trumas Hadeshin, do a little Trumas Hadeshin? So they figured, because it's the nighttime, given the chazal cause of also they sakana, people were coming, now they were coming, they were fighting and shoving each other off the ramp. So that's why they established their lottery. You have a carbon after you do the shchita, zrika, kabbalah, ilacha, zrika. Finally, you have to take the proper limbs and put them on the mizbech, and that could be also at night. Also, not only at night. It's not avodas laila, but you can put it on at night. And there's a lottery. So you see that even though it's nighttime, people are machshaved and they go for it, and it should be a lottery. Says the Gemara, Soif avoida the yamamahi. No, the Avarim is the last avoida of the carbon that takes place during the day. So it's really considered a day avoida. This is a day avoida that has chashivos and people fight over it. But this is a night avoida. We thought that people don't really care about something that happens at night. It says Gemara, this is also a daytime avodah. Yes, you do it during the night before it turns light, but it's for the daytime. I'll prove it to you. It also means raglav, of course. So you do one of these, We have one, right? Yeshua, somebody, Hill, you want to get this? Why not? If we have it, we might as well use it. This is the kiyar. You can see over here, there's a giant wheel, and it goes into the ground overnight to keep it cool. So, this is not as impressive as this. Put it back. We'll see it for a second. Okay, great. The point is, there's a machlokes here. There's a concept called lina, something that's left over in the Beis Hamikdash overnight becomes puzzle. So if a person washed his hands and feet and he did it at night and became daytime, there's daybreak. Does the day ruin his washing of his hands? We have this similar shaila in Negelwasser. In the morning, you wash your hands. Is it the day that causes it? Let's say you wash your hands at night and then it became day. You have to wash again. Is it the ruach ra? Is it similar, but not really? So Rebbe says like this: if you wash your hands and you had in mind to do the Trumas Hadeshin, so even according to Rebbe, who holds that you have to wash your hands again, in this case you don't have to wash. Shikfar Kiddush, these are the words that are important. Mitchilas Avoda. He proves from this word here, Mitchilas Avoda, that Trumas Hadeshin is Tchilas Avoda. Removing the ashes from the Mizbeach is the beginning of the Avoda of the day. So, what's Trumas Hadeshin? Is it a night Avoda or a day Avoda? It's the beginning of the day Avoda. So people should be all excited about it, and they should do a lottery. Why in the world did they say have a race? Says the Gemara, okay, one teretz is, that's not what it meant over here. It meant to say, it's not the beginning of the Avoda. He washed his hands for an Avoda. Not that is the beginning of the Avoda. Not that it's the beginning of the day, but he did it mitchila, to begin with, for the Avoda. It's not the beginning of the day, it's to begin with. That's one teretz. Another pshat is Zikadamri, Mikara Savur. No, we're not going to change it around. It means it's the beginning of the day. You're right, it's the beginning of the day. But this is what happened. In the beginning they thought, who's going to get up early in the morning? It's very difficult to get up. Not only did they get up, but a lot of people got up. And there's a whole, I don't want to use the word rampage, stampede, whatever, not so good. On the ramp. So Rabbanon said, nobody caught on, only you. So Rabbanon said, let's go with the lottery. Fine. So the Gemara is saying, well, when do you do a varm? At 12 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. So people like to sleep then also. Says the Gemara, the Avi's answer, Shani Migna Mimekam. That what? You have a teenager. A lot of people have teenagers here. We know. It's very simple. It's very easy to stay up through the night. Let's see them get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the chachma. All right? What did I write here? Oh, like I saw in Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein Sefer, he says, if a person wants more schusim on Rosh Hashanah, he could either stay up late at night and say a lot of Tehillim, or get up early in the morning. What should he do? He says, from here you see, to force yourself out of bed is much harder and you get more schusim for that. All right? But the kanto, lahach gisa have. What? The reason why we're doing this whole goyrel is because there was a sakana on a ramp because of this. There's another reason, says the Gemara. The kanto lahach gisa have. It was for another reason. The sanya. Mish zacha b'trumas hadeshen yiska b'sido ma'rocha u'b'shnei gzirei eitzim. This is a very important avodah. You do the trumas hadeshen, and not only that, in addition to that, you get to set up the whole maracha. If you see it over here, you might be able to see it better here. Well, this is the maracha. There's 3 marachas. Here's this side. On the right side is where they put the korbanos. Over here, you have for the ketores and the third one. Fine. We're going to get into at a different time. Thank you. You see over here, in the picture, here he is. The guy that does Trumas Hadeshen, he's able to bring the long wood that they're the size of the actual maracha. These logs, thank you. The size of the maracha, whatever the size is. And then in addition to that, he also gets to do gizrei shnei gizrei. 2 smaller pieces of wood that he puts on the fire. Once there's already a fire, he puts it on. So that's 3 avodas total. Trumas hadeshin, to set up the maracha and to put wood on the maracha. So once it's chashuv, one of the terrorists in the beginning was, it's not such a chashuv, yeah, it's trumas hadeshin. Nobody cares about it. It's very chashuv. Everybody comes going. Omer Avashi, you're right. Shtei takonis habu. You have to understand the history. Mikar Savar Leos, in the beginning they thought nobody's going to come for this. It's not going to be a fight. Whoever comes first shows up, asks the Kohen for permission to do Trumas Hadeshin, go ahead, do it. Given the chaz, the kaas of asu, the kaasu, the people, they saw that they're coming, va'asu, now they sakana, now therefore they're coming to sakana, the gittel la paisa. So therefore they established the lottery. Given the gittel la paisa, layasu. But once it's a lottery, you have 1 in 1,000 chance of getting to do Trumas Hadeshin. And for that, you're going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drive to Shilayma and park all the way by, where is it over there? Mamila, and then walk, and it's not worth it. Amri, by the way, for that shir that we're doing in not this coming Friday, next Friday, the Friday after that, the Beis Hashem, there'll be transportation, door-to-door service. Huh? I don't know. We're just going to try to get the bus all the way into the Kaisel. Maybe we know the Rav over there. So they upped it a little bit. It's not a lottery for $1,000. Now you're talking about $1 million. Oh, $1 million, you get the Trumas Hadeshin, you get the Eitzim, you get the Gizri Eitzim. Now it's already worth taking that chance of maybe walking and getting up early, in order that they should come and be part of the lottery. Says the Mishnah, there was a race when there's a lot of people. Omer Rav Papa. Pshitali just goes through the common sense here. Just going through the steps. Obviously the race wasn't on flat ground. Why? Because it says in the Mishnah, okay, it was up the ramp. It can't be the 4 first amas of the rab. No. So first they went up, and then afterwards they got to the 4 amas, but it's 2 steps. It's not the first 4 amas. The bein and the bein nami can't be in the middle of the mizbeach somewhere. What? Because it doesn't go in order. It should say the first 4, and then they went up. Not they went up. They already went up. They're already running, and then it's the 4 amas. The bein and nami the lemisayim milsa. It doesn't really mention the Mishnah a spot on the mizbeach on the kevesh somewhere in the middle. So pshitali the gabi mizbeach tanan, it's all the way to the top. Bayra Papa. However, he has a question. Oh, I don't think I need mizbeach for this. So this is the picture from Kol Hashon, but I thought we could do a little better than this. Here, this is what I was about to get away with. There's a little orange here and blue. I think we did a little better here. Here, this picture, although it's not 100% clear, I took it off with a camera from the Oizvader. But you could see, I did the green here, so you could see that there's an amma worth of the soivav. Around there, this is where the kohanim walk. The kevish was over it, so you lose an amma. And also there's an amma here, although there's not a real base, but the base goes on the other side. So it includes the base. So now the question is, Rav Papa says, do I go from this blue line to the top, to the mizbeach, which is 4 amas, but that includes 2 amas that are not part of the mizbeach really, or do I distance it 6 amas from the end, not including these 2 amas? So does the race end by the red line, or does the race end by the blue line? Is it 6 amas from the top or 4 amas? The Mishnah says 4 amas. Thank you. It's going back there. Okay, very simple now. Does the race end here, or does the race end here? The Mishnah says 4 amas. Yes, I agree it's 4 amas, but not including these 2 green things, so we'll have to push it over here. And now we turn to the Daf Beis, Amud Beis. What? Not in the middle of a word. And now we just turn to Daf Beis, sponsored for Shiduch, for Sheindel Rachel bas Avrumi Tzvi, and for Shiduch for Esther Devora bas Leah gittel, and Devora bas Suri, and Eli Neshamos, all the victims of the Meron Tragedy, and Refuah Shilayma for all those who are still need a refuah from the Meron tragedy, and all the families should have an achama, all the yisaimim, all the almanas, all the siblings. Unbelievable. If there's a tie, I forgot to mention when we're learning the Mishnah, it says in the Mishnah that if there's a tie, he does a lottery. To who? To those two? No. You do it again. Why? Very pashut. If there's two people, he picks a number. Pick any number. If he says 56, then it's going to be the second guy. If he says 57, it's going to be the first guy. Even is always going to be the second guy. So he could just say, go, you. He can just point at a guy. It has to be a lottery. It has to be, he doesn't know. He can't be negeh b'davar. So you have to put everybody right back into the lottery. Yeah, but you don't count the two. When a person puts out two fingers, he's asking you a question. We're going to see. When a person puts out two fingers, it only counts as one. He can put as many as he wants. There's some people that are just too weak. They don't know how to go like this. They can't do this. They're too old, whatever it is. By the way, these people that are very weak runners, the guys in basketball, they're always in the back of the court, they come hoping that there's going to be a tie, and then they can do a lottery. They know they're not going to win the race. What are you coming? You're the slowest guy on the court. But hey, like, why is this old guy that can't, the Gemara says, he doesn't have kayach to go like this. So why is he's not going to be able to race? Because he's hoping there's going to be a tie. They start, and they're going... I don't want to say anything. Did I make a brach on this? Yes. I did? Thank you. What happened? There's going to be a whole thing, yeah. Says the Gemara, Tana, he tells them, stick out your fingers. And that's how we're going to count you. So this is the famous concept. Everybody knows this in kindergarten. And here's the source. You're not allowed to count people in Klal Yisrael. That's why they say Shia. You don't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an Isser. Not only is it Isser d'Oraisa. You ever knew that? So Shaul, in his first war, he wanted to see how many soldiers he has. So instead of counting them, he's going for a mitzvah. He's going to war to save Klal Yisrael. So what did he do? He had every soldier take a piece of broken cheres and throw it in a pile. And they counted 300,000 pieces of broken shards. And there was 30,000 from Yehuda. Those were the elite soldiers, the Golanis, the Duvdevan of those days. 300,000. That's how. Why don't you it's a lot simpler. You're going to war, we got to move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and start counting. Not allowed to do it. He went through the trouble because it's also to count. Who told you? It's a great kasha. Bezek in Hebrew is a telephone company. So who told you Bezek means broken shards? Maybe it means a name of a place, a name of a telephone company. How do you know what Bezek means? It makes sense. He counted them in a city called Bezek, not with broken shards. There's actually a place called Bezek. You're right. Next war, Shaul went, and instead of counting them with pieces of shards, he counted them with sheep that he owned. Can you imagine how difficult it is? He tells every soldier, and this time there's 200,000 soldiers, they realize they don't need that much. They were better prepared. Only 300, 210,000 Golanis is enough. 200,000 sheep. So come into my barn, each soldier grab a sheep, put it in a circle. And they counted 200,000. To go through that instead of going 1, 2, 3, because of the Isser of counting. Let me ask you, Shiloh. Are you allowed to go in a basic forest and count the graves? Count the graves. The dead. The people are dead already. Have you ever seen graves with numbers on them? It should be numbers, a number system. 18th Avenue by 47th Street. I mean, it says Ramosha Feinstein Saucer. Why? Loig Larash. When he was alive, you're not allowed to, and now he's worthless. You could count. That's what Ramosha Feinstein says. That's why you'll see in basic forest, no numbers. Omer Belazar. Kol Amoynes Yisrael Oiver Belav. They have numbers in the bank, is what you mean. Another $35,000 for this group. Another. You can't count it. So you. I was wondering, like in the Levites, they go, there's 100,000 people in Leviah, but that's an approximation. What about the dead at Meron? 45 dead. You allowed to do that according to Moshe? Might be. It's probably not. Okay, not the same thing. What? So they counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's counting. That's another question. What does Hishiyas Hamecha help you? Hishiyas Hamecha. Hamecha means 3. Uvarach is 4. So what's the difference? You say 1, 2, 3, 4. You say Hishiyas Esa, whatever. Hishiyas Esa, yeah. Not 1, not 2, not 3. Why is that not counting? And saying it in English is counting, and saying it in Hishiyas Hamecha language is not. I don't know. Okay. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Omar over b'shnei lavim. You're over on 2, not 1. Because continue the pasuk. Shenem Elohim v'lo yisafar. Omer b'shmuel bar Nachmani. Rabbi Yonis and Rami. Rabbi Yonis had a contradiction. Siv. V'hoya b'avnei Yisrael k'chol hayam. They're going to be like the sand. In other words, you can count sand. It's very difficult, but it's countable. Uchsiv asher Elohim v'lo yisafar. You can't count it. Lo kasha. 2 tirutzim. Kavizman sheYisrael lo yizim mitzvah shel makom. Kavizman she'ein lo yizim mitzvah shel makom. If they do HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, you won't be able to count them. Some say it's talking about Ruchnius. The Ruchnius won't be able to be counted. Rabbi Omar Meshum Abi Yosi ben Destoi Lo Kasha. Can be the Adam, can be the Shemaim. In Shemaim they can count whatever they want. Humans cannot count. Omer Avnei Eloi Bar Idi Omer Shmuel in the name of Shmuel. Kiven shenismanu Adam parnas al tzibur. When a person becomes he's what's the word? Appointed a leader. A leader. Nismani becomes a leader. Misasher. He becomes wealthy. And we had the svar before. I forgot the second svar. There's a svar that a leader has to be wealthy so that you can't bribe him. And he can give musr to people. He has the power to give musr. He's not scared of anyone. Look at Shaul. First, when he started off his first war, he used broken shards. Then he had 200,000 sheep at least. So you see that he became wealthy. The Dilma Medihu, maybe it was theirs. So then what's the difference? Why do you use shards once and sheep the next time? He was trying to show, look, you do the right thing, you become the leader, you become wealthy. Vayorev Banochal. So it says that Shaul fought with Amalek in the Nachal. In the, what is it, Nachal, a river or what? Nachal is not really the valley. The stream, but Nachal, the valley and the stream. The stream and the valley. Omer have money. Happened over there. That when Shaul, we know the famous story, he didn't kill Agag. But what was he thinking? So the Gemara says he made a calculation as follows. HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded him kill everyone, everything and everyone, the animals, the children, the women, everything. Don't have rachmanas. B'shasham HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Shaul. Leich v'ki says Amalek Omar Uma nefesh achas Omer Torah ve'egla rufa. If you find a dead person between 2 cities and you don't know who killed him, so you measure in the closest city, they bring a calf and they do this. One of my favorite pictures. When you're sick of it, let me know. We won't show anyone. I have to do another one. Combination of, it even has tchelas, the whole thing. You do egla rufa for one human being. That's not even your fault. He was murdered. Okay. Over here, you don't think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to have a taina on us that we killed all these innocent people? We should save the sheep. Say the mafarshim. We say save the best of the sheep to bring korbanos to atone for our sin of killing all these innocent people. It can't be that you could just go ahead and kill people and get away with it. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so the people, the Rishoyim Arurim, but what did the animals do? We have to have mercy on the animals. Okay, so the adults sinned, but why should we kill the children? Don't be such a tzaddik. What happened because you're such a tzaddik and had rachmanis in the wrong place? Haman Rasha was born from that night. And look at the tsar that he caused Klal Yisrael. Almost destroyed the entire Klal Yisrael. There's a street here in Bet Shemesh called Netiv Lamed Hey. It's a famous street, famous story, but it's kedai to say. There's 35 soldiers that were going towards the Gush. It's right here. They're going towards the Gush. And they bumped into an old Arab shepherd. And they had a little huddle, and they said, he's old and frail, let's not kill him. So they didn't kill him, they had Rahmanas on him. And they kept on going. And the Arab turned around, ran home, and told all his friends, and they ran after them, and they killed all the 35 Jewish soldiers. Ambushed them, killed them, and because of that, it had a domino effect because they were going to help another, the Gush, and they needed ammunition, and it was a mess because they had Rahmanas in the wrong place. Baruch Hu gave Rahmanas, and he gave Achzarius. These are two midas that we have to use. There's an argument that I have with a certain person that I might be married to. I say, when you have Rahmanas and you don't punish, it comes from a weakness. It comes from a weakness. You are being achzar to the kid. The kid is going to grow up not knowing the right thing. It's not a kunz. Every parent doesn't want to punish the child. Spoil? Spear the rod, spoil the child. All right, it hasn't worked. If anybody knows a little trick, a better argument, let me know.
Yeah, just make sure you don't leave any marks on it.
And not in front of her. Okay. The little red sticker. When you use it or you don't use it? No, my parents didn't use it. That was the Rebbe. All right. What about Ir Noeva Kohanim? Ir Noeva Kohanim, they hid David HaMelech. They thought David HaMelech was doing a good king, Shaul the king. And then Doeg went and told on them, and Shaul said, go kill them all out. It's a big chet against Shaul. But look, all of a sudden he didn't use Rahmanas. When are you supposed to use Rahmanas on the Kohanim, the Yidden? All of a sudden he's not a tzaddik harbe. Soivato b'gaba Kohanim. Yotzabas calls like a shtach. V'amerloi al tirsha harbe. Over there, you're tzaddik harbe. Over here, al tirsha harbe. Omer avuno kama licholi v'le margish gavro the mori saye. If a person, it's not a person that he has a Kosh Baruch Hu, the mori saye, he has a Kosh Baruch Hu, he's with a Kosh Baruch Hu, then he doesn't feel, he's not sick, he's not worried, doesn't have pain, nothing. Says the Gemara, you see this, Shaul ba'achaz v'alsaloi. Shaul sinned one time, and it cost him his life and his kingdom. David b'shtayim v'lo yalsaloi. David sinned twice, and he didn't die, and he didn't lose his kingdom. So over here you see a tremendous insight in life, a very big insight. Shaul was born perfect. He was a perfect human being. A lot of times people say, oh, look at that guy, such a balmidas, unbelievable. Look at that Nava, and he's quiet. I'm never going from that. That's how the guy was born. So what? The guy was born 7 feet tall. Wow, look how tall he is. Unbelievable what he did. He didn't do anything. He's born a balmidas. The kunz of a person is born with ADD and a meshuggah, and he's running around, and he's still nice. That's a kunz. That I'm nispal from. David HaMelech didn't have these milas. He's born with flawed midas. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu was done him in a whole different way. Yishai was his father, never sinned. Yeah, that's something else. David HaMelech himself, Yishai thought of David as, look at this guy. They didn't think, what?
He had a reason.
I know, but I'm saying that I'm not saying this. This is the Navi says that he didn't have the best midas, and he worked on himself. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu judged him differently. It's very important to know this. Like two people could do the same aveira. One person has the ability to be mizgaber himself, and he's not. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to down a whole different person that has weaker personality. HaKadosh Baruch Hu downs him different way. Same aveira. Same thing with the mitzvah. If a guy goes, my dad, I'm not going to say specifically, but my father who loves to learn. If he wasn't Jewish, he probably would have been a scholar. He likes math. He's not into sports. So it's not the biggest chachma. I mean, it's tremendous. He learns 15 hours a day. But a guy that learns an hour when he can't might have more schusim than this guy that learns 15. I'm not judging. I'm just saying a mashal. Yeah? So it's all dependent. Here you see Mefurish in the Gemara. David sinned twice. Nothing happened to him. It happened a little bit, whatever. But Shaul was on a much higher level. theoretically. He was born perfect. He was taller. He was the most beautiful. He was the this, the that. He was perfect. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to judge him differently also. Shol b'achas ma'i, ma'aseh Agag. He let Agag live. As the Gemara, v'oika ma'aseh the noiv yirakuyanim. What about the whole sin of noiv? Ma'aseh Agag siv nichamti kim lachti shol l'melech. On that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I regret that I made him a king, what he did. David b'shtayim ma'iniu. What are the two sins of David? Du Uriah with the Asasa. Uriah, that he sent Bathsheba's husband to war. He wanted Bathsheba, but he sent him to war. It was a chet. He had to go to war anyway. How he did it, without asking. The Asasa that he did, he counted Klal Yisrael. What about the actual fact that he married Bathsheba? Maybe even before Uriah died. Yes, he gave her a get, but he married her. He got punished for that. We learned many times. Whoever says David HaMelech sinned with Bathsheba is making a mistake. It's a different thing that he did maybe because she actually had a get. She was divorced, but he shouldn't have. Yeah, but he shouldn't have married her so quickly. The Chsiv, that Nasan went to David and he asked him a question. He says, if there's a very wealthy person who comes to visit a very poor person, all that poor person owns is one sheep, and he steals the sheep and shechts it. What should happen? David HaMelech says, kill that guy. So Nasan said, you're that guy. You're that guy. You took that one sheep from Uriah, and he had charata right away. But he was paid 4 times. 4 times of what he did. What happened? Yeled. Their first child, him and Bathsheba, died. Amnon, his own son, not only did he get killed, but he also raped Tamar. Tamar and Avshalom. Avshalom, famous Avshalom, he rebelled against his own father, and then he died. It was a tremendous tsar for David. His death and the fact that his own son rebelled against him. Says Gemara, Hasam nami parimene, by the census also, they punished him. 70,000 people died because of David HaMelech, because he took the census. You know what it did to him? He has this on his head. This unbelievable 70,000 people. So the Gemara Hasam le parim megufei. They didn't do anything to him. It was a mental thing, but nothing happened to his body. Says the Gemara Hasam nami lo parim megufei. By Bathsheba also, it wasn't in his body. It didn't happen to him. It was his children. It did. So the Gemara lai parim megufei. No, there was the actual punishment that happened to himself. The Omer of Yehuda, Omer Rav, Shisha Chadashim Nitztara, David HaMelech had tsaras for 6 months. So it's on his body. Uparashu Menu Sanhedrin, everybody ran away from him. The Maral says over here that he had 3 punishments: the physical, the tsaras, the spiritual, and also the intellectual. The Shechina, the Sanhedrin, and tsaras. The Chsiv, Yeshuvali Yireyecha v'Yodei Desecha. Please give me back my friends, and the happiness, which you can't have shechina without happiness. But there's another avera. He's with Kabbalah Lashon Hara. What happened? David HaMelech was trying to find out if there's any descendants of Shaul that are left alive, and the slave Tziva told him, yes, Mipibosh is alive. But he was a tricky guy, this Tziva, and so David HaMelech went and gave all of Shaul's possessions, $1 billion worth of stuff to one guy, Mipibosh. Then seems like David HaMelech took it back when he heard Lashon Hara from Tziva. So the Gemara says, no, he didn't accept it from Tziva. He divided. He said, I'm not sure. And Mipibosh said, no, Tziva is lying. And Tziva said, he's trying to be more. So he gave it to both of them. So it seems like he's a Kabbalah Lashon Hara. Shmooze says, no, he figured it out himself. It was weird the way Mipibosh looked. He had long hair. So he thought he's rebelling. No, you could also answer that they punished David for that. When David told me he punished me instead of him having $1 billion. Now he only has 500 million because he gave half of it to Tziva. You know what your punishment is? Who's going to take over your grandchild? Who's going to take over the Malchus? Not your grandchild Rechavam, but it's going to be a split. Rechavam, your grandchild, your descendant, and the slave Yeravam. So that's a midah keneged midah. You gave it to the slave Tziva, half. I'm giving half of your Malchus to Yeravam. Says the Gemara Ben Shana Shol b'Malchai. So here the Gemara is going back. Don't think that Shaul was a bad guy. You have to understand who Shaul was. Meshich Ma'Vamala, the Navi says. He was from his shoulders and up, above everybody. What does it mean, Ben Shana? He was a year old when he became a king? No way. But he's like a 1-year-old that didn't have any sins. Maybe he's like, he has diapers. He's full of tit and soya. They showed him, he had a nightmare for saying this. Omer, so he realized, he tried to have chara, he says, I'm answering to you the bones of Shaul. It didn't help him. He had another nightmare. Once he said, you're the king, gave him the proper kavod, then he had no more nightmares. Have a wonderful day.
When they say 44 dead, it doesn't mean that they count them. Maybe they count the cards or something like that.
But they do count them. There must be a Muslim. It's not the. You think that the guy from Zaka knows it's halacha and he doesn't count like this, he counts like that. What? Ramosha Feinstein's? You learn new things every single day. Every day. Ma koreh?